What's up everybody, welcome back or to the channel. So today we're going to be doing an install and review of a new electric motorized projection screen for my theater room in my basement. So without further ado, let's jump in and let's check it out. Okay, so for some of you that don't already know, I have been working on finishing my basement, so this is still a work in progress. But today we're going to be focusing on the theater room area of my basement, and we're going to be installing the new projection screen. So the projection screen is going to be mounted over here on the wall, and then right over here is about where I'll be mounting the projector. So the screen size that I chose was 125-inch diagonal, and I'll put the dimensions right up top over here, but it breaks down to roughly a 5x9 movie screen. Now this particular projection screen is going to be an electric motorized projection screen, so it's going to have a frame that's going to mount towards the top, which could either be mounted to the wall or it could be mounted to your ceiling. Whichever way you choose to mount yours is perfectly fine. It's designed to be mounted either way. So once you get it mounted where you want, then you're just going to have to run your power cord from the motor to an outlet, which I don't think I'll be using these outlets. I'll probably be running an extension cord probably up behind the back of the curtains because I have an outlet over here, just because I don't really want to see any cords dangling down here below the screen. Now this is supposed to be a high quality screen with a black backing, which will help filter any light from shining through the screen, giving you better picture quality. And it's supposed to have a high quality white front as well for optimum color saturation and contrast. So without further ado, let's jump in and open this up and let's check this out. So as far as packaging goes, this is packaged very well. There's an outer box with straps you'll have to cut, and then once you open that up, there will be an inner box with more straps that you'll have to cut. And then once you open it up, everything will be laid out just like that. Okay, so primarily it's just a long tube, which is your motorized frame. And then right here is going to be some hardware options for anchoring it either to your wall or to your ceiling. So we'll set that aside. You'll have some instructions over here to mount it. And then that's pretty much about it. So again, this is not very heavy. I do recommend having a second person help you when mounting this, just because it's so long and it could be a little awkward for some people. But the most important thing you need to decide on is where you're going to be mounting the screen, choosing the right screen size for your specific wall size that you're going to be mounting it on, and then trying to find your center point on the wall, and then deciding where you're going to mount the screen, whether you're going to be mounting it directly to the wall, or if you're just going to use the enclosed brackets and mount them to your ceiling studs and then hang it from the ceiling. So let me dive into this just a little further and we'll be right back. Okay, so we just went ahead and opened up the hardware bag here. And again, you're going to get a nice remote here. So you're going to have your up, down, and off button here. The back is where you're going to open this up to put your batteries. It does come with a set of batteries already, so we'll set those over there. It does come with a small little level here that you can use when trying to level your screen when you're mounting it. It does come with your adapter cord to actually plug into your remote. You do have some additional bolts and mounting anchors here for whether you're going to be mounting it to the wall with your wall anchors like this, or you have your eye hooks here that you're going to mount into the ceiling. And then you have your spring tension hooks here that you're going to hook to this hook and then attach it to the hooks that are on the actual screen if you're hanging it from the ceiling. So I think today we're going to be hanging it from the ceiling, so I'll be using these hooks over here, and then we'll go from there. Now another thing to be aware of when you're dealing with projection screens that are actually hanging down out of a motorized case like this is that the screen is not actually attached to the wall. The motorized mechanism is. Your screen is just hanging down just in front of the wall. So because of that, just be aware, if you happen to have a fan running in the room that you're mounting this, that fan could create a little bit of wind that could cause a little wave in the actual screen itself, which could affect some of your viewing pleasure on a screen. So just be aware of that. So the next thing I need to do is get a measuring tape and measure out where my center point is on my wall. But if that's my center point there, then I'm going to basically have to measure over where my bracket hooks are from each side. Start up here, measure out where it's going to mount and put a hook there. Start from the center again, measure out, put a hook over there. And then we should be able to just hook it up against the wall by hooking it up to the ceiling hooks. So let me start working on that and we'll be right back.
So the first thing I'm going to do is find the center point of my wall and mark it with a piece of green painter's tape, and then mark the center point of that with a pencil. Then I'll take measurements of the motorized bracket, and then I will also mark the center point of the bracket with a piece of green tape as well, and then I will mark it with a pencil also. This way, when I mount the motor up on the wall, I just align the two green pieces of tape so that my motor is level on the wall, and then measure out to the sides to where the bracket hooks are on the motor. And I'm referring to this bracket right here. This way, from the center, I measure over to where the bracket is closest to the floor joist, and that is where I will drill a pilot hole to put my first eye hook into the ceiling. And then I will do the same thing on the other side as well. And all I did was use a drill bit that was slightly smaller than the actual eye hook that came in the hardware kit, and I drilled a pilot hole into the ceiling, and that is where I screwed in the eye hook. And then you're going to take your spring clip fasteners and hook them to the motorized bracket at each side, and this way you can take those spring fastener hooks and then clip them up top to the eye hooks that we just mounted in the ceiling. So let me go ahead and work on mounting this up to the eye hooks, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're finally done. We got the motorized projection screen mounted to the ceiling. Now I ended up having to make a few tweaks to how I mounted it because the edge of the projection screen bracket here extended past my floor joist up above on both sides. If you look over here, it did the same thing too. Because the center point of my wall falls between the two floor joists right here, so that right there is the center point. So when I centered the projection screen bracket to the wall, the outer edges of it extended just past the floor joist. So what I did was I still went up above and I screwed in my eye hooks up there, and I did use my compression clips there as well. And then I had some extra plastic chain links in my garage that I came down and I used 2 chain links on the right side and 2 chain links on the left side. By doing that, that allowed the chain to come up on an angle to connect to my mounting point up on the floor joist at the eye hook. So if you happen to choose to hang your projection screen bracket from the ceiling and your end brackets actually don't line up with your floor joist, you could just go ahead and still put your eye hook up here in the floor joist. Just go ahead and use some rope or some chain links, and you can connect the outer bracket to your eye hook up on the floor joist. Then I just went ahead and took my power cord, draped it over here for now, and then I have it behind the wall over here to where I actually have it plugged into the wall. Okay, so let's grab our remote, and right here on the remote, there's a top button, a middle button, and a lower button. The top button makes the projection screen go up. The bottom button makes it go down. The center button makes it stop. So let's go ahead and hit the bottom button. We'll let it come all the way out. It's actually fairly quiet and pretty smooth and fast as it comes down. Okay, so that is it at full extension. Now, it's very common for these types of screens to have this blackout bar across the top, just because if you end up hanging this all the way at the very top of your wall, there's that extra material there that brings the white portion of the screen down lower into your viewing angle. So you could choose to leave it just as is, but me, I like to lift it up a little higher until the top is pretty even with the bottom, because that way the black borders all the way around match relatively close. So that's pretty much how I would use it. So you can go ahead and manually adjust this up or down wherever you want it to be. You can also just leave it down, which is probably how I'll leave the screen, just leaving it down all the time. That way I don't wear out the batteries on the remote or wear out the motor on the projection screen by making it go up and down all the time. But overall, it does seem pretty smooth and I'm pretty happy with it. So let's go ahead and turn on my projector. I did get it mounted up here to the ceiling. So let's go ahead and turn it on. Okay, so we got the projection screen turned on. So again, I just turned this on to show you what it looks like. But again, as you can see here, the viewing angles are actually really good. Come over here. I mean, look at this. I'm literally right to the complete side and the screen is not turning black, because sometimes a lot of these projection screens, when you come off to the side, they kind of turn black to where you really can't see the screen. This one here has a 180-degree viewing angle. So no matter where you are, you get a great viewing angle, which looks really, really good. So that's a great feature right there when you're looking at a projection screen, is making sure it has a great wide angle view. Now, if you see any waving in the screen at all through this video, it's just my camera doing it. It's not doing it actually on the screen. So again, just to go over a couple nice features about this screen, this is a 4K capable electric motorized projection screen. It has active 3D, so if you do happen to be watching 3D movies, this screen will work for that as well. And it does have high dynamic range for optimum color saturation and great contrast levels. Now, as far as the front of the screen goes, this is what's called Max White 2, which is a very high quality white screen specifically for movie projectors, which really helps maximize your viewing angles. It really helps with color saturation and great contrast levels as well. So when you're looking at projection screens, you want to make sure it has a high quality white screen on the front. And another cool thing is the back of this is all black. So behind your screen, it's completely blacked out. So it's nice about having a black back on your screen is it stops any light from transferring through the screen. So having a black back on your projection screen will definitely help with the quality of your screen viewing because it won't let that light transfer through and wash out any of your colors and your contrast. Now, real quick, this screen is ISF certified, which is a certification that comes from the Imaging Science Foundation, which goes over a lot of technical specs of projection screens. But just know this screen has been certified by the ISF for basically being an overall high quality screen. It's also Green Guard and Green Guard Gold certified, which are nice certifications to have as well. Now, again, this is a 125-inch diagonal projection screen, but in regards to your viewing area, the white viewing area here is 61.4 inches high and 109.1 inches wide. So it breaks down to roughly a 5:9 movie screen. Now again, the motorized housing up top is actually a very durable casing, and it can be mounted to the wall or to the ceiling as we mentioned earlier in this video. But because it is a rounded tubular housing, it actually allows the screen to roll up and roll out in a swift, fast operation, which overall helps with the product longevity. And what's nice about this remote is that it's actually wireless with a 5 to 12 volt trigger. So what that means is within 100 feet of my basement, I can activate this screen to go up or down with this remote, even if there are walls in the way. But what's also cool is this comes with a cord that you can plug in right here to the side. You can plug the cord into the side of your remote and then plug it into the back of your projector if your projector is equipped with a 12 volt out jack. And then it will actually program your projector to activate the screen to go up or down based on powering on or powering off your projector. Now, I don't really think I'll be using that feature because, again, I don't want to have my screen going up and down a million times a day because I just feel like it's going to eventually wear out the motor faster. So I'll probably just be leaving my screen down in this position most of the time. But overall, I'm really happy with this screen. I think it looks awesome. The color clarity is really good. All right, so I just went ahead and turned on my PlayStation real quick, and we're going to see what it looks like here. So now you can see, I mean, it definitely looks really good. If I turn all the lights out in my basement. So again, it's really hard to show you through a camera, but the screen clarity and screen quality is amazing. I really like the side viewing angles. So again, you can be sitting all the way over here to the right side, or if you happen to have chairs on the opposite side, I mean, no matter where you're sitting, you could see this screen perfectly. So overall, the screen quality is top notch. I'm really happy with how clear the image is, and I'm really happy with the wide viewing angle. So no matter where you're sitting in your room, you're gonna get a great viewing experience with this projection screen. Again, it's really not that hard to set up. You can either mount it to the wall or mount it to the ceiling. I find mounting it to the ceiling to be a little bit easier, but you can also mount it to the wall if you prefer that. So at the end of the day, my overall impressions of the Akai 125-inch diagonal electric motorized projection screen, I'm going to go ahead and give it a thumbs up and give it a go. I think the quality is great. I think the viewability is great. And I really like the 180-degree viewing angle because it allows you and your guests a great viewing experience from pretty much anywhere in the room within 180 degrees of the screen. So that's a really great feature there. Installation was pretty easy. The functionality of the screen going up and down works flawless. The remote works perfectly good. It goes up when you want it to go up. It goes down when you want it to go down, and it stops exactly where you hit the button to stop it. So I'm really happy with all of that. The Max White 2 front gives you bright whites and great color saturation.
The black backing allows for great contrast levels and stops any light from filtering through the screen, which could wash out a lot of your viewing quality on the front. So it pretty much has everything you would want out of a high quality movie screen, and I'm really happy with it. Okay, everybody, so there you go. So as I just showed you, it's very easy to mount this electric motorized projection screen to your wall. You can either mount it to the wall or the ceiling. Today, I chose to mount it to the ceiling because in my opinion, I feel that's the easier way to go, but you could choose to mount it whichever way you want. But overall, installation was a breeze. The motor lowers the screen and raises the screen very quickly and very quietly. The quality of the screen is fantastic. So overall, at the end of the day, my initial impressions of this Akai 125-inch diagonal electric motorized projection screen, I'm going to go ahead and give it a thumbs up and give it a go. I think the quality is fantastic and I'm really happy with this purchase. So if you happen to be in the market for a high quality projection screen, you definitely want to consider checking this screen out. But that's it for today's video. I hope this video helps some of you out. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button and like this video. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments section and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And also do me a favor, subscribe to the channel because it definitely helps me out and I greatly appreciate it. So that's it. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you. I truly appreciate you all. And as always, see you in the next video.
Akia Screens. Get the big picture.